Welcome everybody. Today we're going to try a real board. We are going to start some Joseki. I'm sure you're excited. We could do this electronically, and funny enough, my normal instinct would be to do so. However, instead of that, we're going to try physical for Joseki. I think it helps try it and see it spatially. This is a board. It's my second board. Nice Japanese foldy board. Anyway, we're going to work through Joseki. When you start, Joseki feel like traps. All of this will be coming from, wrong side, yep, Kihon Joseki Jiten by Ishida-san. This is old. I managed to get this 2 years ago, pretty cheap in America. There are people who will say Joseki are no longer valid. I'm a big fan because they teach you how the game works. Now, it's a word nobody knows. That's the Chinese, if you're curious, right? It just means set stones. Now, the real word for it, everybody, in English, I'll be honest, formation is a way better word. Okay, so if you know a couple formations, why should you care at first? If you know any formations, you can go from 25Q, which is the lowest OGS will make you, to probably 18 to 15, because you'll win the early game more often. From there, you'll have to learn more. Okay, so we're going to work through them. I'm going to alternate teaching even openings, and first we'll do Komoku, which is right here. This is the star points. That's a 4-4. This is a 3-4. And after that, we'll do some star openings, which is the 4-4. And again, how we're counting is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So stars are really popular. Since AI came out, they've been rising in popularity. Again, historian first, hi everybody. But historically, they weren't that popular. They were for handicap games. And in the very old days, everybody started with star points. But since empty boards have started, Komoku are popular. And again, that's the 3-4. If you watch the 81st Honin Bowl, which is one of the biggest Japanese championships, still very heavily played. So this is a good one to know. It's the first. I'm going to be referring my notes. Hi everybody. Again, all my notes are from that book. I just transcribed them, being a giant nerd. Okay, so this is by far the most common empty board opening for black. It's not always the internet. You never know what people are going to play. But let's work through some really simple early variations. And the book is basically organized in what's the most fundamental. So, and don't think of these, when you hear Joseki, don't freak out. Most people do. Just think about it like a formation, like a military formation. Set stones doesn't really mean anything to a native speaker of English, but there's a way for this to work. So the first things first, why do you care? Why do you want this? Okay, so for a new player, this is why. This is called a shimari in Japanese. You're just closing this corner. To quote a Don player in my local club, you can't get invaded at the 3-3, which is right here. So you're pretty much guaranteed a corner. Spoiler, there are attacks one can do here to take the corner, but black will get a bunch of outside. It's not that bad. You will never see it at your level probably. Okay, now the fundamental goal why you make this shape, besides getting the corner, is here. You want to make an extension, a second extension if your opponent would let you, third extension, fourth extension. Now if you see that, right, that's just radiating. This is mine, right? I'll get this, this will be points. So this is what your goal is. Now here's the thing, everybody. Your opponent knows this, so if you see one of these and you want to stop it, right, like let's say this is how it is. That's a pretty good stop, right? And then he'll probably extend out anyway, and you can jump or go play up here somewhere, right? So that's the goal, right? So it's good to know where it's supposed to aim towards, because then half of go is thwarting your opponent's aims, right? Even this, you can thwart it. There's moves like here, and then you run away that way, because then the board's never empty, right? Like let's say there's a white stone all the way over here and a white stone there, because white gets its vote, right? This stone can run that way. It's very useful. So let's start. That's Fuseki. That's early game. We'll get into that later. Let's start the first Joseki in the book. And before I studied any Joseki, this move terrified me. The historic approach to this point is a knight's move, a small knight's move, on the side. This is called a kakari. It means a corner attack. It's similar to a shimari, right? A shimari is what you want to close. A kakari forces a response. Now, just remember it's a forcing attack in corners. That's basically what it is. Now, if black doesn't respond, white has some pretty harsh counters. Although some of the variations are nuts. So right now black's pushed down, or black has to cut and fight. Like, remember, there's white stones all over the board in a normal game. Okay, so we're going to practice today just the beginning of one of these Joseki. Okay, so this one's called the Shusaku Kosumi. Here you go. So when he attacks, you diagonal. Now, what's the point of this? Well, if you're curious, they had to the Japanese invented all of these during the Tokugawa period. They had 300 years of peace, and one of the jobs you could have, hereditary or joined, it actually was merit-based, was be a full-time Go player. And modern Go is basically Japanese Go, in a good way. And now it's the Koreans and the Chinese have voted, they've inputted back, and it's gotten really complicated. It's great. So Joseki come from this empty board position that the Japanese basically started doing. And Shusaku is a great master. You can read some of his old games. They're great. This move. Now, the point of this move is it's high. Now, high means low in Go just means you're closer to the board, the edge. High means you're getting towards this middle point. So this is a high move. This is very good. Now, white can, of course, play away, which is called tanuki. Now, key tanukis, just watch this. You don't have to be very good to see this move. Right, all of a sudden, you've pushed white down the side, and white would probably get one more ahead, probably, or jump out one like that. So now black has this giant territory, potential territory. It's not G, as the Japanese say, it's called a moyo, right? Because think about it like this. If black had a stone here now, it's looking gorgeous, and imagine if black had another shimari here. Right now it's looking almost unassailable. Not quite, but it feels good. So that's why you don't really want to play away, especially a new player. I'd be careful playing away from this. Okay, the standard responses. We'll start with the most standard. First one in the Joseki book, and you'll find this in other books too. Okay, so generally, with logic of all play, but especially Joseki play, you play a move that is related to how severe the other player's move is. So a Kosumi is a little bit threatening, as we saw. So you play this knight's move up, right? So, because remember, down towards the edge, up is coming towards the center. So you play up, black will then extend all the way under the star point. This is called a hiraki in Japanese, but extension. I don't like extension. I call them like an anchor or a fortification. It's very useful to have a stone, as many as you can get, in this kind of shape where you have a corner and you're on a side, because this is starting to look like territory too, right? So then white can play loose and go all the way here. Again, you'll notice white's getting a pretty good shape too. Okay, now this is the end of the Joseki, but it's not over. Why? The immediately next entry, I'm pointing my book, this is where you get your profit. So very soon, and if you're new, I would say just do it immediately. You immediately do this, because right now you have Sente, which means black gets to go first. However, you want to play this. Now you have Goat, which means you lost the initiative. But what did you gain for it, right? This is always the question you should ask. Look here. You now have a secure corner. You're under his skirt. That's what it's called in Japanese, right? He can't really stop you from here, so this is not really territory anymore. And you have an extension all the way out here to under the star point. So you have a secure corner, and you're starting to build a side. And remember, if there's any stone out here, like let's say you have a star point, right? You see that? It's starting to look juicy. It's pretty good. I mean, if I was white, I'd probably be going, I'll teach you guys these ones next time. I'd go here, or I'd go there. But for now, this is very good. Now, why do you do that? Let me show you. Basically, you're going to lose 20 points if you don't do that. The book mentions it's a nijumok. So if you don't play here, all right, let's leave that stone. Let's say white is feeling pressure, or black's feeling precious, plays away, attacks something, right? Who cares? White's going to do this. and he's taking the corner. Black can't stop him from taking the corner now. Like, what are you going to do, right? Maybe try to cut the knight's move. It's not going to really do anything. So maybe that, I'd probably almost say nothing, right? Then white plays one more. Anything. White's still in your corner. That's 20 points. Now for counting, if you're curious, the way counting works, this is just good as you learn. I've only been able to see, air quotes, see counting recently. It's what you'd gain plus what you'd lose. Does that make sense? So this, basically, black lost 10, white gained 10, it's worth 20 points. So this is huge, 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 huge. So if you're going to play this variation and you're new, and by new, I'm just, if you're lower than 15Q, your timing's probably not that good yet. Mine wasn't either. Just give him Sente. Take your profit. Because think about it this way. Let me show you abstractly why this works. Let's assume, right, that white has to have 2 stones. Okay, and you had another stone. Let's just say so. Okay, let's say we play that, we lose Sente. Let's just do the same thing one more time. Kosumi. Came off. Extend. He extends. You take the corner. He pushes. You have a corner. Okay, right now, black has 2 corners, 2 secured corners, and 2 potential sides, right? 1 and 2. White is not bad right now. This is a good white shape, right? However, there's a couple problems. This and this can be invaded. Even it's white's turn, right? There's no reason white can't do something, right? Try to secure it, but none of these moves he'll do will secure the corner. You could still invade. Again, that'll be another video. But this is where it starts to see, like, let's say you're brand new, you're 25Q, you just did OGS. This formation is looking really good. And remember, we're assuming your opponent played a perfect Joseki. Let's assume an intelligent opponent. That's always safe. And remember, it's OGS, which means they're probably playing star points. But there's plenty of potential to invade here, to reduce here, because even, let's say white goes here, and you're not that worried about this yet. Even this, you've suddenly extended, and it's a dual. This is what's called a dual purpose move, right? It's a 3-stone extension, and you're threatening his corner. And again, right, what if he does a standard this, that, this? Right now you can start, now you can invade, or invade, reduce, right? So this is why I wanted to show the whole board, to have something to look at, right? So this first Joseki is really good to learn. Now there are variations. How am I doing on time? I want to keep this short. 12 minutes. This is the first intro. I'll leave you here. Because I think this is the place to end. Practice it. This is the first one when I started systematically studying moves. This is the first one I learned. Because first one in the book, it's one of the first ones invented in all Go history. So it's only a couple hundred years old even. But it's still played. It's still pretty strong. Again, when you say it's a high position, just look at it visibly, right? This stone and this stone are extending to the center. So even though white is higher up playing a center game, you're also in the center. So you should be able to negate a lot of this territory. All right, that's the first Joseki video. Hope you enjoy it. I'll be doing more later. Slowly but surely, there's so many of these. And we'll talk about the why you should study them too as I teach them. But otherwise, until the next move, I'll see y'all then.